Hello. The sun is starting to come out now, but it was cold this morning, as this photo I took can attest. Last week was a pretty big video. I did the studio makeover for my throwing corner. This week I've mainly just been doing stuff behind the scenes, haven't been filming anything. It's mainly just me dressing warmly because it's been cold, so in my dressing gown, on the lounge, painting pots, and you don't want to see that. So I thought this week we'd just do something fun. I decided to go to one of my favorite stores, Land of Possibilities. One thing I came across is this. It's a little paper mache book and it's a hidden compartment. I thought it was so cute. So it was $7.50, which you know what is kind of expensive for a paper mache book, but inflation. This one opens quite well. I was testing a few of them out. Not all of them opened as well or closed as well. So you kind of just have to pick which one works best. Do I want to go back and buy the other two that were still there? Yes. Will I? Maybe. Making this book look pretty. And my version of pretty is old. Pretty old. They're like you're old, pretty, pretty old. I have some. Oh. There's not really many shops where I live that sell antique books. I thought, you know what, let's make one. So my inspiration for this are this. I spent way too long coming up with some titles for my little book here, and I will now tell you some of them. Concerning plants and such. Welcome to my garden. Everything's dead. The animated vegetable. Classic tales of future stories. And last but not least, edible herbs. Noxious edition. In the end though, I don't think I'm going to use any of those titles. I'm not sure yet exactly what it's going to be, but I'm just going to keep it simple. So let's get working on this mysterious book of secrets. Let's go!
So the first thing I did was tape my phone to a ruler sticking out from books on a cardboard box because professional. Then I painted the entire outside of the book with a chrome green. I used a pre-mixed colour straight from the tube, so I didn't have to spend hours trying to remix the same colour if I needed more. I used a dry brush and didn't water down the paint either, which helped with a leather or fabric texture as opposed to seeing brush marks. While I waited for the book to dry, I took a scrap piece of paper and traced the shape of the book, and then just roughly drew out the design I wanted. The design was loosely based on a few of the inspiration images, taking elements from this one and that, but in the end I pretty much just made it up as I went. When the book was dry, I mixed a paler version of the chrome green, adding some white, and I also did add a bit of yellow to warm the colour up because the addition of the white seemed to just make the colour a little bit grey. When I was happy with the colour, I began to paint with the smallest paintbrush I had, and I found the paintbrush was still making the strokes quite variable in size, which I didn't really want, and I do wonder how it would have looked if I used a thin acrylic marker and some kind of gel pen instead. I might experiment with that next time. And then I just kept painting. I did go back and correct some parts that came out too thick by putting some of the original green colour on top. For the title, I printed out a pale grey version inside the book proportions and embellished the font just a little bit. I then flipped the paper over, drew a thin layer of pencil where the writing was on the other side, and then transferred the pencil markings by carefully pressing the tip of the pencil into the book where the writing was. It doesn't really show on camera, but it was there enough for me to trace the writing with a thin paintbrush using gold acrylic paint. I painted all the strokes in one direction and then turned the book to do diagonal and horizontal parts of the writing. This meant that the strokes were straighter and neater compared to continually moving the book around one letter at a time. I freestyled the spine, which is why it appears a little bit more plump, but let's just call it stylized. I added a volume 1 in case I have too many confidential notes for one book. And finally, I watered down some white paint on the surface where the pages would be, then used a clean, dry paintbrush to lift up some of that white paint to mimic pages. I did this with the top and the bottom in the same way. And then my book was finished and ready to be filled with my deepest, darkest secrets.
I don't know. So that is it for today's video. I hope you liked it. I really liked making it, so I do want to buy the others now. Give the video a like and let me know if you liked it, because I can definitely do more videos like this. And I will see you again next week. It's always on my lap, so I can't reach, but bye. It is so our own pretty book, and I am rambling. Pretty, but cold. Just a book of secrets for me and all of you to know. What am I trying to say? Oy, 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 oy. Oh my gosh, what does that remind you of?